Captain America Civil War! Avengers 2.5 is the latest in the long line of Marvel cinematic blockbusters. It was directed by Anthony and Joe Russo and stars Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson. Pretty much everybody who's ever been in a Marvel movie before is in this one. The movie is not only a sequel to Captain America the Winter Soldier, but in a way also to the Avengers Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, and pretty much the entire story leading up to this point. The story is basically about society getting a little bit fed up with the fact that every time the Avengers help people and save the day, a lot of people get killed and a lot of buildings get destroyed, that kind of stuff. So the United Nations has actually passed a bill which will regulate the Avengers and other people with superpowers. And on one hand we have Iron Man, who is all for the bill and wants to sign it and get everybody else to do so. On the other hand we've got Captain America, who's a little bit wary and skeptical about governments, that kind of thing, and has a few reasons why he doesn't want to sign it. So in this way we get a split between the Avengers. On one side we have Team Iron Man, on one side we have Team Captain America. In the meantime we also have Captain America's friend Bucky from previous films, aka the Winter Soldier, who plays a very integral part in the film. A villain named Zemo is essentially using Bucky as a way to try and accentuate the rift between Captain America and Iron Man, and his ultimate goal is to bring down the Avengers. So that's essentially it. There's not too much to the story. But having said that, my god, this movie was so entertaining. I absolutely loved it. Now, one thing to keep in mind before I get stuck into this, as I've mentioned before, I grew up a DC kid. I mean, I liked some Marvel, but I loved my DC. It wasn't until the release of Iron Man and the start of the Marvel series in 2008 that really sort of made me pay more attention to the Marvel characters, and I really developed a love of these Marvel movies, to the point where, you know, I even started collecting a lot of merchandise. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins Yay! So the Marvel movies did turn me into a bit more of a fan, and I was really looking forward to this flick. Civil War was brilliantly directed, really well shot. There was a lot of shots that I actually thought were very well framed and composed. The acting was absolutely solid, the script was great, there was no extraneous dialogue or anything like that, save for a couple of plot holes which I'll get to. And the action sequences were staggering. I mean, this kind of movie, let's face it, we go to see it because of the action sequences. It did not fail. It is worth going just for some of these scenes alone. And a lot of them were really inventive. There was a lot of really cool things that we'd never seen before. But the ultimate sequence was the big airport fight between the two factions, you know, good guys versus good guys. Not only was it a thrill to watch, but it was funny. It was just, the whole theater was laughing their asses off. It was really well done. I am honestly going to say it was quite possibly the best fight scene I've ever seen in a movie. I think one of the characters I was really most impressed with as far as the fighting sequences went was Black Widow. I know it was Scarlett Johansson's stunt double doing a lot of the work, but wow, my god, some of the moves she was doing were just jaw-dropping, like really cool. There was a lot of moments in the movie where, you know, when something cool happens in a theater and people sort of have this reaction where they laugh because it was so awesome. There was a lot of moments like that where the whole theater was just like, oh, wow. The 3D in the movie was used extremely well. This is one of those movies that is essential 3D viewing. I'm not kidding. Aside from things like people jumping off of buildings or whatever, you know, there were some really dizzying shots. Even just things like where you got people standing talking in a standard 2 shot. Like, there was a lot of depth in those shots as well. It was very well done. But one of the things that I loved most about Captain America Civil War is that the conflict didn't stem from an alien invasion or some big megalomaniacal superpower villain who was trying to decimate a city or, you know, something like that. The conflict stemmed from a much more human level. You know, it was a very emotional kind of movie, you know, with this whole thing going on between Iron Man and Captain America. It was a combination of the writing, the dialogue, and the way that the actors portrayed the characters. You know, you felt for both of them. You know, you saw why each one of them had their reasons for what they were doing, and And yeah, you know, this sort of split of the friendship and everything was extremely well handled. So that was one of my favorite aspects of the movie. On the subject of the writing, the characters were very well balanced throughout the whole flick. You know, I mean, there was a lot of characters to juggle around, and I thought they did a really, really good job. You know, there was no sort of moments where it was like one character was kind of pushed aside for, you know, another storyline or anything like that. Like, yeah, it was very well balanced throughout. Now, on the subject of characters, of course, everybody is talking about Spider-Man. You know, this is the first time we've actually seen Spider-Man in one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Now, to the casual movie viewers, you might be saying, but hey, we've seen a whole bunch of Spider-Man movies. True, but they were actually released by Sony Pictures. Sony actually owned the rights to the character of Spider-Man, even though he is a Marvel character. So a deal has been made, and this is actually, it's a big deal. This is the first time that we're seeing Spider-Man in his home turf, so to speak, you know, in a Marvel movie. And oh man, he did not disappoint at all. Tom Holland, the new Spider-Man, did the best job. I loved him. It wasn't so much his performance, you know, which was great and everything, and he looked the part, but oh man, he was funny. He was really, really funny. How Spider-Man should be, you know, he was this kind of dorky young kid who, you know, even when he's in costume and everything, he's still a dorky young kid. And oh man, he really stole the show in the film. So speaking of the humor in the film, I'll get onto the things that brought it down a little bit for me. The biggest flaw that I thought with the film was that it was just uneven in tone. The first part of the movie was really serious and whatnot. Then when you get Spider-Man and Ant-Man introduced into it, oh man, it was just non-stop laughter. It was a really, really funny second act. But then all of a sudden it goes back into serious mode for the third act. And I don't know, for me personally, I just felt it was a little bit uneven. Aside from that, there were a couple of really big sort of plot holes, more sort of conveniences. One involved kind of a twist in the story that involves a security camera and the footage from the security camera. And it was just one of those things where it was like, really? There just happened to be a security camera filming this particular thing at that particular time? No explanation for it, and it just seemed really convenient. And another one was how Iron Man finds Spider-Man, or, you know, works out that he's Peter Parker. It was never explained in the flick. I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anything, but it was just like he turns up at Peter's house and he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. The only other thing I had a little bit of an issue with was that the villain was kind of meh. His whole reasoning for wanting to destroy the Avengers and everything was just really hokey and, you know, something that we've seen 1,000 times before. So I thought he could have been done a bit better. But look, that's the only issues I really had with the flick. It was a solid, entertaining blockbuster. And I'll tell you one thing, they got the trailer right. You know, Batman vs. Superman, the trailer for that pretty much gave away the entire movie's story. This time around, man, there were so many surprises. That trailer did a great job, or the two trailers did a really good job of just giving you a tease of what this movie was going to be like, and that was really great to see. So look, aside from a few little issues here and there, yeah, it was an amazing flick. It was so much fun to watch. The special effects were absolutely mind-blowing. The characters were really well done. It was fantastic seeing Scarlet Witch doing a little bit more this time. I had an absolute blast watching this flick, and I cannot wait to see it again. I am happily going to give Captain America Civil War a 9 out of 10. So let me know what you thought of the movie. Leave me some comments either here on YouTube or on Facebook. And in the meantime, don't forget to hit subscribe, because once I get to 100 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a Blu-ray copy of The Force Awakens. There's another video, a couple of videos back with all the details on that, so check that out. I'm not going to go into it here. And in the meantime, drop me some comments. Let me know what you think about Captain America Civil War, because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. See you next time.
Hey you there. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Click subscribe. You see the big word up the top that says subscribe? Well, click on it. Click on it now. Do it. Yeah.